Imagine a disaster more terrifying than Hiroshima. Radiation hundreds of times stronger released in a single night. Even today, a massive steel dome shields the ruins, because beneath it lies something still deadly enough to kill within minutes. This is the untold story of Chernobyl, a catastrophe governments tried to hide, ordinary men risked their lives to stop, and a danger that still threatens the world decades later. Stay with me. What scientists are discovering under that dome right now will leave you speechless. You've seen the massive steel arch, taller than a skyscraper, wider than a stadium, costing billions. Most people assume it's just a monument, but it's a cage. Inside lies Reactor 4, epicenter of the worst nuclear disaster in history. And here's the shocking truth. The engineers weren't careless. They were highly trained professionals trying to make the reactor safer. One misstep, one overlooked rule, and suddenly, the fate of half of Europe hung in the balance. To understand Chernobyl, we must go back to 1986. The Cold War raged with the USSR and USA racing not only for weapons, but cheap, abundant electricity. The Soviets built dozens of nuclear plants, prioritizing speed over safety. Chernobyl in northern Ukraine had 4 massive reactors, each capable of powering millions of homes. But the design of the RBMK reactor, tall graphite-tipped control rods, flawed emergency systems, would turn a safety test into one of history's deadliest disasters. Here's how it works. Uranium atoms split, releasing heat. That heat turns water into steam, spinning turbines to produce electricity. Control rods absorb neutrons to slow the reaction, but the tips of these rods were made of graphite, a design flaw that would prove catastrophic. One wrong move and the reactor could surge beyond control. April 25, 1986. Engineers at Reactor 4 prepared a safety test to see if cooling pumps would run for 60 seconds after a power failure. It had already worked elsewhere, but here it failed. Power plummeted from 1,000 megawatts to just 30. Operators removed nearly all control rods, breaking every safety rule. Only 6 remained when protocol required 15. The reactor roared back to life. The countdown to disaster had begun. 1:23 a.m., April the 26th. Alarms scream, the floor shakes. The supervisor yells, "Press AZ5." The emergency shutdown. It should halt the reaction, but graphite rods accelerated it instead. Power surged tenfold. Water flashed to steam, pressure skyrocketed, and boom! The 2,000-ton reactor lid ripped into the air. Molten graphite, burning at 3,000 degrees Celsius, shot skyward like deadly fireworks. The moment the world changed had arrived. Firefighters arrived within minutes, unaware of lethal radiation. They climbed the burning reactor, spraying water on graphite glowing blue-hot. Pripyat, a city of 50,000, remained oblivious. Children played outside as radiation rained down at 10,000 times normal levels. The Soviet government stayed silent for 36 hours. Only when Sweden detected radiation did the truth emerge. Helicopters dropped 5,000 tons of sand, boron, and lead. Pilots flew straight into radioactive clouds, many never returned. Beneath the reactor lay a pool of water. If molten core touched it, a second explosion could devastate half of Europe. 3 men volunteered: Valery Bezpalov, Alexei Ananenko, Boris Baranov. They put on basic diving gear and entered radioactive water. In total darkness, they navigated submerged tunnels and manually opened valves. Europe was saved. All survived the dive, but radiation eventually claimed their lives years later. Heroism immortalized. In 2016, a $3 billion steel dome slid over the ruins, designed to last 100 years. Inside, the fuel is still deadly. Robots die within minutes trying to inspect the core. The elephant's foot, uranium and concrete, remains one of the most dangerous objects on Earth. A minute of exposure can be fatal in days. Chernobyl is not just history, it is a warning for the future. Decades later, hundreds of reactors like Chernobyl still operate worldwide. The next disaster may not give 36 hours to respond. Chernobyl was not just an accident, it was a warning. If this story shocked you, hit like to spread awareness. Comment 1986 if you want more hidden Cold War secrets. Subscribe and turn on the bell. History's lessons are far from over. Stay safe.